Just as I finally strike up the nerve to actually start filming this video, because even though this isn't probably the first video you're seeing, this is the first video I'm actually filming, my cat barges into the room. So if you hear cat noises at any point, she's under the camera. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So today I am filming my very first video. This probably isn't the first video you're actually seeing, but this is the first one I'm filming, so welcome to me. So this is a video that's probably a little late, and you're probably wondering why I even decided to film it because it's already April, but I have decided that I still want to do a 21 books to read in 2021 video. So that's what this is. So I have 21 books that I want to try to read this year. I've actually already read 2 of them, so that's exciting. I made this list a while ago, so that's why I've already read a couple of them. But I tried to make a manageable list because I know in the past whenever I try to make one of these lists, I pack it with classics and I try to put all these difficult books on there, and that's just not going to work. So this time I packed it with books that I think I'm actually going to read, and books that I've been thinking about reading and that I want to read soon. So here is my 21 books to read in 2021, even though it's already April. Okay, I will start with the one that I've actually already finished, and that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I gave this book 4 stars, which I will actually be talking about a little bit more in a recent reads video that I'll probably do toward the end of this month or maybe toward the middle of this month, sometime this month. But essentially this book, if you don't know, is about an immortal girl who, no matter where she goes, who she meets, she is always forgotten. The moment she is out of sight of the person, if they go to sleep, if she leaves the room, if they leave the room, they instantly forget that she ever existed. Until someone remembers. And that is our book. Honestly, I think it's for the best to not go in knowing more than that. I think it works really well if you don't know a lot. And the reason I suggest this is because I tried to go in with like a lot of expectations. Well, I tried not to, but I did end up going in with a lot of expectations, unfortunately, and that kind of brought down the book a little bit for me. And so try to go into it with not a lot of expectations, and I think you'll really enjoy it. I'm also kind of proud of this book because this is the first book I've really like tabbed, if you can see that. All those pretty little tabs. So this is the book that helped me establish my tab system, which is really cool. Alrighty, the next book I have is The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. This book follows Magnus and Alec, and this one specifically, I believe, takes place in between City of Glass and City of Fallen Angels. And I'm just pumped for anything Magnus and Alec. This is her first adult novel, I believe, or if not her first, this is at least an adult novel. So I'm curious what will make it different from the regular young adult books that I'm used to from Cassandra Clare. But I'm really excited to get to this. It's actually pretty short compared to most of her books, so I have a feeling that it'll be a quicker read. And I also recently got the sequel to this book, so I'm pretty excited to be able to pick both of them up. Although, from what I've heard, they're more individual stories because they take place fairly far apart. So it sounds like they're more their own stories rather than a continuation maybe, but I could be wrong about that. Maybe they just take place years apart. I have no idea. Okay, next we have one of the only classics I have on here. I think I have 2 or 3 on here, and that is The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So pretty much everybody out there knows, and I just realized I've been looking at the viewfinder this whole time instead of at the camera, so I'm sorry about that. But this book follows Sherlock and Watson, and it's like a bunch of short stories, I think. Yeah, it's a bunch of short stories. I've read the first one, and I just never went back and read the rest. So I want to try to read all of them. And you know the reason I really want to read this is because I have this bind up, and it has the first 3 books in it, and that's the 3rd one. I've read the first 2, so I really want to feel accomplished by finishing that whole volume and finishing the 3rd one, because that will just feel really good. And also, I find the Sherlock books a little hard to get through, just the way they're written. So So I really want to try to get through them. I think that would be pretty cool. Along that same line of thought, we have The Beautiful and the Damned by F. Scott Fitzgerald. So The Great Gatsby is probably one of my favorite books of all time. You might hear me talk about it on this channel in the future a lot because I really, really like it. And I haven't actually read any of F. Scott Fitzgerald's other books. So I really want to try to read one of his other books, and just the title of this one really calls out to me, so. Plus this edition's really pretty. It's like a nice pink, and I really want to read it, so. I have no idea actually what this is about, by the way. I'm supposed to be like giving a synopsis and stuff, but I don't know what it's about, so I'm sorry. I'll leave links for all of these books if you want to like look them up and see what they're about, because I have the strangest feeling that I'm not really going to be great with the summaries in this video. Did I mention I'm really nervous? Because if that's not coming across, then I'm really nervous. First video, really nervous. Okay. So the next book I have on this list is an author that I've heard a lot about, and I've heard a lot of people really like, and it's also a genre that I haven't really dove into before, so I'm really excited to do that, and that is Tomie by Junji Ito. So a lot of people here on BookTube, especially a lot of people that I watch, are like super into Junji Ito, and I've never read one of his books before, and I've never really read a horror manga before. So I'm super interested in that. And this book specifically is about a femme fatale who is murdered and then comes back over and over and over again. And at some points there's like multiple versions of her, and it just gets insane. Until there's a world filled with, I'm guessing she's Tomie, so a world filled with Tomies. And that just sounds terrifying. And I'm super into like femme fatale stories because last semester I took a film noir class and we looked at a lot of classic noirs, and now I'm just like super into femme fatales as like a storytelling device. So I was super interested when I heard that this features a femme fatale character. Next we have Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This book is about the first son of a US president and the son of a king, I believe like the British royal family. So essentially this is like an enemies to lovers romance, and this has just gotten great reviews. I've heard a lot of great things about it. Pretty much everybody I've heard of that has read it has liked it, like all the people I follow. So I'm super excited to dive into this, though I'm not going to make the mistake of going into it with too big of expectations, because I think we all know that's never a good idea. At least in my mind, it's never a good idea, because it almost always just, I don't know, never go in with too high of expectations. That's my advice to you. Also, sorry if you can hear my cat snoring. She does that. And I think she likes this room a lot, so you might hear that in some of my videos. Sorry about that. Next we have 100 Days of Sunlight by Abby Emmons. So this book follows a blogger who is in a car accident, and because of this accident she is blind for 100 days. And so her family hires somebody to come help her write her vlog because, you know, obviously she can't see to type and work on it and put it out, so they hire somebody to help her. Now this somebody is in a wheelchair, and he makes a deal with the parents that he will help her so long as nobody tells her that he's in a wheelchair. And it's really great because he finally feels like, and this is all in the description, he finally feels like somebody is treating him just normally, because instantly she like hates him and wants nothing to do with him, and he's just happy that somebody's treating him like a normal person instead of with pity. And so they are gonna find this unique, I imagine, this like unique friendship first, and then hopefully evolves into more, and I'm just really excited. I've heard great things about this book, and it sounds really, really cute. Next we have the book that took BookTube by storm, and that is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This follows a band from, I'm not even sure when actually, let me see, from the late 70s, and I imagine it's kind of similar to Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, where it's like an interview style kind of thing, where like you're looking at it from today's point of view and then we're looking back. I'm not really sure, but that's what I imagine it's like, because I have read Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and I loved it. So I have high hopes for this, because I know a lot of people actually like this better than Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo when they're comparing Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. So hopefully I really love this one. Next we have this book. I ended up finding this when I was just browsing books online, and I came across it and it had amazing reviews, and the concept was really interesting, and the cover honestly was what caught my eye. And that's If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. And this book, the only thing I really remember about it since I bought it, because I bought it a while ago, is that it takes place after a man is getting out of prison after like 10 years, and he is confronted by the cop who actually put him away. And the cop wants to know what really happened 10 years ago. And I think there's like murder involved, and it's giving me like dark academia vibes. I don't know if that's accurate, because I don't even know if this is in a school or not. But that's the vibes I'm getting from this. And this book is just like, look at the inside of this book. It is so beautiful. I've gotten good vibes from this book. I feel like I'm gonna really like it. So here's hoping. Alright, next I have another set of classics, and that is Edgar Allan Poe's Tales of Terror and Madness. So this is just a compilation of a bunch of Edgar Allan Poe short stories, I'm assuming, and maybe some of the poetry, I'm not really sure. Oh, it has a full-length novel in here. I didn't even know he had a full-length novel. But I want to read this. I actually have this, and I have Classic Tales of Horror, which is just short stories. So one of the two. I just really want to read some Edgar Allan Poe this year. This might be like a good Halloween time read. But honestly, just like whenever I'm in the mood for it would be really good, because I've had these books sitting on my shelf for a long time. I got this really cool edition from Barnes & Noble, and I'm just really excited because of what I've read of Edgar Allan Poe's I really liked. So I really want to read a lot of his like classic stories. And apparently a novel. I did not know he had a novel. Next, I have a book which I was very happy to see spreading around BookTube, and even like becoming one of, I think it was the first Reese Witherspoon pick that was YA. And that is You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. So I follow Leah on Twitter. She is amazing. Follow her on Twitter because she's awesome. And I've just been so pumped to read this book. I want to read her new book that's coming out, I think in June or July. But I really want to read her debut novel. I haven't yet. I feel like I'm the only one who hasn't read this book yet. So it is a really cute story about a girl who has everything figured out, her whole college thing, everything is ready to go. She is a senior in high school, but her financial aid falls through. And so she needs to win a scholarship. And at the school she goes to, Prom King and Queen, I think it is. I think it's prom. Or maybe it's homecoming. No, it's prom. So her prom King and Queen at her school get full scholarships to whatever college they want to go to. So all of a sudden she has to enter to win prom queen when she has never cared about it before. And her love story, her romance, ends up being with one of the other people running for prom queen. So it just sounds really, really cute. I've heard this is really cute and really heartwarming, so I'm really excited to get to it. Next, we have another sapphic book that I was really excited for. I bought it like right after it released, and I haven't read it yet, and that is Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Malinda Lo. So this book takes place in the 1950s in Chinatown and features a club called the Telegraph Club. And that is all you need to know. That is all I need to know. That's all you need to know. That's all anyone needs to know. That should be enough to get you to read this book. I have not read it yet, but again, I've heard amazing things like I have with pretty much all of these books, and I just want to jump right in without knowing anything else, because that completely sold me on this book. So hopefully I will be getting to it pretty soon. Okay, so next up we have a book that I've been meaning to get to for the longest time. I have seen the movies and I love them and I need to read the books, or else I just feel like, I don't know if this is true, but I just feel like I'm not a true fan unless I've read the books. Which I feel like I don't really believe that about things, and I don't think other people believe that about things, but it's just how I feel. So I really want to read The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien, because I've seen the first movie, I love it, it's probably one of my favorite movies of all time, but I've never read the books, and I really need to, because The Lord of the Rings is just such an interesting and intricate world, and such an amazing fandom to be in. I want to understand every part of it, and I want to be like so invested and have like everything memorized and know random facts off the top of my head, and I feel like I can't fully do that unless I read the book. So I'm gonna read the book. Alright, the next book on this list I don't actually have a physical copy of yet, but I will get it soon because I ordered it on Book of the Month. You can actually add on some of their past books, so I added it on as an add-on. So I will be getting it this month, and that is Legendborn by, I believe it's Tracy Deonn. And this book follows a girl who, all I know about it is she ends up going to the school and witnessing this magical fight in the middle of the night. That is all I know about it. That's all I need to know about it. I've heard amazing things. I'm sounding like such a repetitive person right now, but that's true of all these books. I've heard amazing things, don't know much about them, but I want to read them. So, there you go. Next, I have a book that I know next to nothing about, but picked up because I love this author, and I really wanted to read some of his independent books because I've only read the ones that he wrote with Amy Kaufman, so I thought I'd pick up his book, Nevernight by J. Kristoff. I know a lot of people love this book. I'm hoping I'm going to be one of those people, and I want to read it really soon because I bought an Owl Crate box. This is totally, like, not even the point, but I bought an Owl Crate box and it has Nevernight inspired things, and I want to understand what those things are, so I want to read Nevernight. And I wanted to read it anyway, but that's even more reason to read it. So I'm gonna read Nevernight. This is the year. Again, I'm not real great with the synopsis kind of thing, so in the description, if you want to know what these books are about. Nevernight is one I feel like a lot of people know what it's about though, because it's another one that's like circulated around BookTube a lot, so I don't know. I'm trying my best here. Along that same line of thought though, we also have These Violent Delights, another book that the Owl Crate for April has items inspired by this book, and I haven't read it yet, so I really want to read it. I want to read one of these two books, either Nevernight or These Violent Delights, before the box comes, so that I can feel more invested in whatever the item is. Because I'm sure no matter what, a lot of times this is the first Owl Crate box I'm actually ever getting. A lot of times the items are like ambiguous enough to where you don't necessarily have to be a fan of whatever it is to use it or find it cool, which is nice. I just want to be more invested in whatever the item is, so I want to read the book. So this one I do know a little bit more about. This one takes place in, I believe, Shanghai, in 1920s Shanghai, and features two rival gangs. And one member from each gang, a boy and a girl, had previously dated and now have since broken up. And well, they have since broken up, and now that something is terrorizing the town and puts both of their gangs in danger, they have to team up to try to figure out what's going on, and of course that's going to spark things between them. Next we have Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. So this book features a boy named Yadriel who is transgender and wants to prove to his family that he is a true Brujo. And by doing that, he goes to the graveyard to try to bring back the ghost of his family member to kind of figure out what happened. But instead, he accidentally brings back the ghost of the resident school bad boy, and that bad boy is not going back until he gets answers. Next, we have one that I probably won't get to until the end of the year because it's more of a holiday read, and that is The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. So this book follows a girl, and this is all in the synopsis, so this is not a spoiler, follows a girl who is visited by the ghosts of past, present, and future, but she doesn't listen to what they have to say and ends up dying. In the afterlife, she is part of this team who finds Scrooges and tries to convince them to listen and tries to get them to right themselves because she wasn't able to, so she needs to help other people get on the right path. And that just sounds amazing. I love different takes on A Christmas Carol because it's a story I really love. And I've heard nothing but great things about this book. Everyone seems to like love reading this, and they always say like, I'm gonna read this every single year around the holidays. It's just that good. So hopefully I really like it as well. But like I said, I think I'm gonna hold off until the holiday season just to kind of get in the spirit of things, because I've heard that's a lot of fun to do with this book. Next, we have another book that I was really anticipating upon its coming out, so to speak, and that is Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. So this book follows a girl who has always done everything by the books, and after graduating with her PhD, she wants to do something a little crazy. So she goes to Vegas, gets really drunk, and ends up getting married to a total stranger. So this book is her going to live with said total stranger and figure out what they should do and if they should stay married and get to know the wife that she barely knows, which just sounds absolutely amazing. Okay, finally, for the last part of this video, the last two books that we have in this video are actually rereads. So the first one is Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. So I have read the first book in this series, and this first book is actually going to be the gateway to me getting into all of the other books, because I have books 2 through 5, but I don't remember enough about this book to be confident going into the other books, because the other books follow characters from this first one. So I want to reread this one, get to know all the characters again, and then move into the other stories so that they're more impactful for me because I know who the characters are. And finally, the very last book that I have on this list is probably my favorite book of all time. I read it earlier this year and I want to read it again before the year ends, and that is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. My favorite book. This book is amazing. If you have not read this book, read this book. It is amazing. So this book follows a man named Linus Baker who is tasked with going to different orphanages full of magical children and making sure that they are livable, that the orphanages are appropriate for the orphans living in them, that they're safe and taken care of and can live good lives in these orphanages. He is tasked with the ultimate secret mission of going to this specific orphanage and making sure that it is a good place to live. And he goes there for a month. This book is full of found family, of romance, of amazingness, mainly the found family stuff. The romance kind of takes a backseat to the found family. This book is my heart. My heart is this book. It is amazing. Please read this book. It is the best thing I have ever read. It is so, so good. I love it so much. I want to read it a million times, but mainly I want to read it over again and tab it. I tabbed like some of my favorite moments in this book. I don't know if you can really see that, but this book is just absolutely amazing and I highly recommend it, and it's just read it, please. Okay, so that is all I have for this video today. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe for more videos like this and to stay updated on whether or not I actually read these books. So if you want to see more videos by me, like I said, subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter if you follow the link in the description. Also, feel free and please do look up all of these books in the description below because I'm sure they're all amazing, amazing books. I've heard so many great reviews of all of these books, so please read them along with me. Let me know what you think if you've read any of them, and thanks so much for watching. Bye!